Public Safety Committee. And we'll open, I'll entertain a motion on the minutes from the last meeting.
So Mr. Chairman, I've read over the minutes and I move that they be approved.
Okay, we've got a motion. We have a second.
Second.
Second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we do have a new member on our committee this year, but just to clear our memories, I'll start down here with Commissioner Joe Gorley for the 9th District, which basically is out Burnt Knob Road, Blackman Road, and Baker Road area. North, okay. And we got David Nipper, who's District 15, and he's got Murfreesboro, north of the city, between Highway 96 and Memorial Boulevard. Commissioner Chanto Serino has District 21 out southeast Broad to Manchester Pike and cutting across Dilton Mankin Road. I'll get that all out in a minute. I'm Doug Schaefer. I have District 1, and it's part of Laverne, the lakeside of Laverne. That's Stephen Piercy, District 3. Two. Okay, I knew it. Because him and 3, they're reversed in the way they are, at least to me, with being 1. But he's based last cast this Walter Hill area onto Milton. You're really going to count that?
You got it.
Yeah, you got it. Okay. And all areas in between. Okay. And then we have Brad Turner, who's given this committee a shot this year, and he's got District 10, which is about a third Laverne and 2/3 Smyrna.
Correct.
And Commissioner Pettis Reed is District 8, which is Eagleville in the rural area out in there off Salem Highway. I guess that pretty much covers it. Okay. And first on the agenda tonight is Fire and Rescue. Chief Farley.
Good evening. Start off with the year-to-date report from January 1st on my department, January 1st to 25th of September. We had, so far this year we've had 53 structure fires, and Commissioner Phillips asked me last month how that compared. This time last year it was 42 structure fires countywide, and we've just had 53 ourselves. So the county average on that would be 89 this time. We've had 89 structure fires so far this year. Well, last year we had 42, so we've just about doubling structure fires. So we've had this so far this year. My department's had 1,221 calls. And of course, MVAs is up. We had 169 motor vehicle accidents with injuries, 112 without injuries. And then the MVA report countywide, we had 48 MVA calls. Average response time was 10.4 minutes. A lot of it, if you notice in the highlighted areas, is where Rescue 1 had to travel outside their rescue zone to cover for some of the volunteer rescue trucks that were not staffed at that time. So when we have to go from Barfield to Walter Hill, a lot of times that increases our response time, so that creates our average a little bit higher.
You just mentioned a head-on fatality on westbound 840.
Yeah, for some reason out there in that area on 840, between the 61 and 65, whenever they wreck, it's usually pretty severe. We have a lot of rollovers out there for some reason. And so we had a person that day lose control for whatever reason, went across the median, hit a car on head on, and so we lost one and life flighted the other one.
Well, it's got a pretty good sized median in most of that road, doesn't it?
And of course, for Commissioner Turner, on the second page, it kind of shows the rescue trucks and where those trucks are located at. The next report is just a monthly report from my department. We had 146 calls for the month, 3 structure fires, and 24 MVAs with injuries, and 10 without injuries.
Chief, I had one question
Okay.
about that, and forgive me if this has been covered a number of times. Just for my information, when it says dispatched and canceled en route, is there a typical cost that's a minimum cost that just for dispatching those units automatically costs the county, just
Well,
based on to get everybody going? And,
Basically just fuel, but basically where a lot of those calls are is where a lot of your homes have smoke detectors and
Yeah.
alarm systems, and those alarm systems will call in dispatch and report a fire or a smoke
Right.
detector, and then of course they automatically dispatch us, and then while we're either proceeding to get en route or en route, the alarm company will call back to dispatch, say it's a false alarm,
Okay.
and then we cancel.
Gotcha. But it's
That-
mainly just fuel costs and.
Yeah, just fuel
Okay.
costs and that's pretty much it.
Okay, thank you.
But most times it's pretty quick.
Yeah,
There's
that's
actually,
what I was wondering, if you're out 10
well,
or
a lot
15
of
minutes
times
already.
we may get down the road 3 or 4 miles, and a lot of times by the time the guys get to the truck and start pulling out, they'll cancel us.
Okay,
So, but 99% of that is fire alarms.
right, okay,
I have
thank you.
a question, Chief. Do we have any habituals where we're getting a second, third false call period?
We've had some, but most time it's like 1 or 2 calls. The biggest one was Eagle High School when they were doing remodeling. We kept getting called out. So I called the construction company and told them to tell the alarm company to put it on test. That way, until further notice, till they got through with what they were doing and creating all that dust, they wouldn't page us out. So most time that's what we'll do. If we're having issues, we'll tell the homeowner of the business to call their alarm company until they get it straightened out, because that way they're not constantly calling us out. The next page shows all our department and all the volunteer departments combined, what their call volume is, and what their training hours and water usage is. I didn't receive a report from Christiana or Eagle this month, and so the actual numbers on their runs are not there, which is going to decrease our total call volume. Our total call volume this year is 1,958 calls. Compared to last year at this time, it was 1,755. So we're trending probably to go over 3,000 calls this year. The total number of MVAs today is 547. Extrication, MVA with extrication is 17. And of course, the structure fires, total number of structure fires countywide is 89. So as the county gets bigger, call volume increases. And then the next page is addresses that has had fire damage, and this is what we turn into the codes department, so they know that they will have to pull a permit to remodel or repair.
Any questions for Chief Farland?
Chief, I want to make one comment. I was stopped in a meeting the other night. Well, it was a Farm Bureau annual meeting by an individual that lived out in the Crescent area. And he just wanted to comment on the fact, I know we have discussed this as commissioners, about as we are now putting full-time firemen in some of our stations around. He was commenting on a fire that happened out in that area, and he was just saying that if we hadn't had a full-time staff to show up on a house fire out there, that house would have been lost in past years because they arrived in such a fast time, and I think they even had support from Eagle showed up at that time. And this was just an individual, not somebody that was part of a fire department or anything of that type, but he was just making a comment out of the blue saying that how important that was. So that was just a comment back to
I
your
appreciate that.
department.
I'm glad people notice that. Of course, like I've told y'all many times, the crucial factor in structure fires is the quick response, because the
Time.
more time you have, the larger that fire grows. So it's made a big improvement, especially on that end of the county.
Out there in that area, it has really helped.
I'll make the motion to approve his report.
I'll second that.
We have a motion, we have a second. Any further questions? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
opposed? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
EMA, PK.
Good evening.
This your program, right?
Actually, and my report will be very quick tonight. The biggest thing is tonight is just introduce you to Peter Rogers, who I just recently hired. As a matter of fact, at the last meeting, I think he was in his first day with us. He is a new employee in the hopes of replacing Mr. Gurley. That still remains to be seen. No, he's doing a great job so far. Like I said, we got him out of the radio shop at Nashville. However, most of his law enforcement, first responder, EMT, all of his other training, he's mostly out of South Carolina, Charleston, South Carolina area. So I just wanted to let y'all see his face, and if you want to grill him on anything, you can do that now too. So, but this is Peter.
Thank you. Welcome aboard.
Thank you.
As far as my report goes, we had, like I said, we kind of a light month, but with a lot of important things happened. Probably the biggest thing that we did was we conducted our LEPC, or Local Emergency Planning Committee meeting on the 10th, and had a real good turnout. As a matter of fact, I ran out of chairs over at the EOC. For those of you not familiar, your Local Emergency Planning Committee is that large meeting between public safety, who have a dog in the hunt, as well as charities, other organizations, plus local business, especially those that maintain reportable quantities of chemicals that require them to file a Tier 2 report. This all got started based on handling of hazardous materials. However, it's an all hazards committee. We discussed lots of things. Had a real good meeting. We had a special, I try to have a speaker at these, and we got Lance Coleman here, who is the EMA director in Blount County. Back on July 1st, if you remember, there was a train derailment in Blount County, and he wanted to give us his lessons learned, and it really touched off quite a few conversations. As a matter of fact, we had CSX there as well, and it was like in 2016 they're going to come down. I just got to sit down with them tomorrow and pick a date for a rail disaster-based exercise that they'll come down and do with us as a community, which is something we need. Just so you know how that is important to us, is Blount County had their derailment. They have about a mile of track that go into the county. We have 35, and y'all know where it goes. Right through all of our major population centers. So this is something we need to focus on and be prepared for. And preparedness is one of those things where you're never prepared enough. You always got to do a little bit more. So that went really well. Other things that happened during the month, we hosted the hazard mitigation planning meeting, which is basically updating our hazardous mitigation plans for the state and for FEMA. Since we haven't had and you do that every 5 years, since we haven't had a huge event in that time frame, there wasn't a whole lot to that this time. Also, I have one member of my staff currently at the Team Instructor Conference in Chattanooga. We're continuing to work on two things for the Correctional Work Center, a tabletop exercise on the 7th and an actual drill on the 21st. And we're also teaching a hazmat awareness class for the rookies for the Rutherford County Fire Department on the 27th. We only had we actually had 3 staff responses. One of them was yesterday, but it didn't make it into this report. It'll be in for next month. A couple of spills. Other than that, that completes my report.
Questions for Mr. Cass? If not, we'll entertain a motion. Got a motion?
I'll second it.
And we have a second. Any further questions? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And all opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. And you've got a...
Well, actually, I didn't add that in. That was kind of news to me when I saw it there, but I know what it's about, and I believe Mr. Gurley also knows what it's about. This is y'all, I believe you have to vote on the lease agreement with Middle Tennessee Electric Membership Corporation for the shared use of the tower on Bradoville Road. We already have stuff hanging on that tower. Okay? This is just completing the paperwork for it. And actually, I was assuming that whoever put that in there sent that forward. Yeah.
I
didn't do that.
But I don't know who sent that part. I would assume someone else, either the mayor's
That
office or
came
finance.
from the
put
mayor's
that.
office. We
Yes.
just delivered that to the mayor's office.
Okay.
It's just adding another collator to it, right?
Say again?
It's adding another collator to the tower.
Right, that property owner.
Yeah.
Yeah. We have equipment already on the tower. This is the lease agreement, which includes the normal lease amount that we paid to Middle Tennessee Electric for the Smyrna Tower, plus the underlying landowner had a provision in his agreement with Middle Tennessee Electric where he could acquire additional funds. We got that down to $100 a month, which added another $1,200, which makes a total of $3,400. And it still beats spending probably $500,000 to build
Still a
a
good
site.
deal.
Okay. All right. And what you're wanting from us is approval and with
So the mayor
motion,
can sign it.
all signatures.
Yes.
And it has gone to legal.
Okay.
Which is probably where it originally came back from as well.
Okay. All right, you heard the request. We have a motion.
Make a motion, Mr. Chairman, to approve the site agreement as presented
With signature.
with signature.
Okay. Have a motion, we have a second.
Second?
Second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Thank you much, sir. Nice to meet you, Mr. Ryan. Juvenile detention.
Mr. Chairman, while we're waiting for her to come up, that's okay, come on. I just want to mention that we have a guest that's come in, that's not on our agenda, but I just want to introduce Captain Rick Parks here. He is the fire chief down in Eagleville, as well as he is the chief of police down there as of last Thursday night. He's the interim chief down there, so he wears a couple of hats for Eagleville, and he's with us tonight visiting with us. So,
Welcome, Chief.
Thank you. Welcome.
Okay. How are you?
Good. I'm Rebecca Basket. I think I've met you several times. I'm the captain at the Juvenile Detention Center. So nice to meet you all.
You too.
You have in front of you the August report. I do want to point out, since submitting the August report, I have received payment from DCS, the $25,000 that you see in the amount owed. Yeah, that was some work. But I'll
Always
happily
wondering
answer.
about the state.
Yeah. I'll answer any questions that you have as far as the report goes. I also included on page 3 of the report a flyer for the upcoming parenting class. I don't know if you all have seen that yet or not, but I did put that in there.
And you have these ads all over.
Yes,
The time.
police departments, the lobby of the facility. We try to get the word out into some of the schools as well.
Okay.
You've had an increase in your population number.
Yes, sir.
What would be your floor capacity?
64. We have 3 16-room pods and 2 dorms with 8 beds in each for overflow.
Any further questions? I assume the ones with the positive results for transmitted diseases, when you list them, that's,
It's still
oh,
pretty,
they're all differently, they're not
Yes, sir.
repeat.
they're new intakes.
Yeah. There's no further questions, we'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve the report.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you very much. Ms. Cindy.
On the last page of your report, there's also a flyer for the open house. Like
Oh.
to see all of y'all there.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, but remember to leave your knives in your car, or you get a long walk. Okay. Superintendent Solandi, Correctional Work Center.
How y'all doing?
Good.
Alright. Start off with the last board meeting on September 9th. Discussed the expenditures. Everything's good. Also discussed the board approving the paid out the right amount determined $43,297.53 for exceeding his expenditure budget. So we had to reimburse him for that.
Now, is that gonna last us through the rest of the year, or does this go to part last fiscal year and this year?
Right, it was part of last year, so we're good for this year. So prior to the July little pickup report, the August monthly work report, all the reports, and they approved all of those. We got Hooper fence installing razor wire, just the perimeter fencing, and we also purchased a contraband detection that's a highly sensitive metal detector. There was a little discussion about commissary regarding, and also phone charges, about future dates or in the future concerning when contracts are up and going through RFPs in the future. So that was discussed a little bit. And we talked about the maximum capacity for the work center is 250 plus another 64 for the work release. We had our prayer breakfast on the 16th, and the next one, the second Wednesday of October, so gotta look at that date. We got a big event coming up with New Vision, Redeemed for Life. It's something the chaplain, this is the 3rd or 4th year he's doing it, and he's inviting other agencies. I know the Sheriff's Department's supposed to be bringing some of their inmates over also, so. That was that on the board meeting.
The maximum capacity is 250. Where are you today?
Today, about 200.
Thank you.
Which is, it's
Good.
increasing.
Yes.
So is the jail too, right?
Oh, yeah, they're very overcrowded. State little pickup, show that. We collected $4,465.42. Month of September.
Does all that go into the general fund, or do you
It does.
get to put some back into gasoline?
It goes in the general fund. The yearly activity report reflecting August, you see average census was 191, felony days, misdemeanor days, you see that, 851 to 5,000. All the programs doing great. I'm gonna discuss one of the program later on, but everything else is going fine actually. Next page is the work release program. September they had 19 in the program. Those are the fees we collected, and as you see, one was hired full-time and 2 additional completed the program, but they probably had other jobs elsewhere, so they didn't stay with the company. But the program's going great. We got about 8 starting in the next couple of weeks, so it's moving along fine. The monthly worker report for August saved the county $120,194,888, and that's one. The last page is the volunteer behavioral health care system grant update. What we'll start doing is each month present to you what the grant is, give you some data on how it's doing. A lot of the people that they're assessing the reentry part, and the reason I want to make sure we start doing that is a year from now the grant ends, and one of the big topics, as you can see, going on nationwide is mental health issues in the correctional setting. This grant is great. The program is working. We're seeing a lot of behavior changes because of the assessments they're doing. So I just want to behoove y'all to, kind of keep that in mind when it comes to keeping this grant or the position going, I should say, a year from now. So it gave us 2 full-time individuals, and then we partner with the Guidance Center of Volunteer Behavioral, and so it's in-house and also re-entry, and that's why it's really a great program. And they also report to the DOJ and their stats, and we have a quarterly conference calls that we have with them. So, but the overall success is that it's working. We see the difference in the behavior, and it's not just for the jail, but also affect the community. So I think that's something we really need to look at keeping in the near future.
Well, how do you identify the problem, people that have the mental health problems?
Some volunteer, or we get requests from the staff to talk to certain ones. Plus, they're done with an intake assessment. We in the corrections side can ask them certain questions. You don't get in depth, and based on that questionnaire, then we'll know that they need to follow up with the 2 counselors.
Further questions for the superintendent? Well, I hope it works, because we get that problem everywhere, don't we?
Exactly.
No further questions, we'll entertain a motion.
I move we approve his report.
Second.
Motion is second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Good, OSHA.
Good afternoon.
Aye.
You have the report there in front of you. I'd like to report in the month of August that we had 18 injuries requiring medical attention. You see the breakout there. That brings the year-to-date total to 123. Of those, 79 are OSHA recordable. 33 had restricted days. 25 had lost time days, and 21 are considered all other. On the next page of your report, you kind of compare this year with the 2 previous years at this time. You'll see in 2013 at this time we had 115 injuries. Last year we had 146, and this year we're at 123. So we're running about the middle of the road where we were for the last 2 years, a little bit less than that. However, when you look at the incurred dollars, you'll notice that we are higher on incurred dollars, and that's basically because of some accidents that happened in February and in April that have high reserves on those. Of course, those reserves may actually come down as the injury progresses. Of course, we won't know what the final result of those injuries are as far as cost-wise. Usually it takes up to a year to get those back down.
They can go the other way.
Yes, they can. If the incurred dollars are not sufficient, then they'll also raise those reserves. So just let you know, while the number of claims are down, you could say the severity of the claims are up slightly. Of the 18 claims for the month of August, the reserves or the incurred dollars were $35,483. The Board of Education had 9 of those claims, and the dollars attached to those was $11,450.
What, the motor vehicle, what was it? Was it a bus?
For the Board of Education?
Yeah.
Don't recall right off what that was, but I can tell you here in just a moment. No, one of the maintenance vehicles was rear-ended.
Okay.
That's what happened on that motor vehicle accident for that one. And because he was rear-ended, we're working to recover those dollars for that injury. The county highway department had 2 injuries last month, and you'll notice that the incurred dollars there is $10,833. And then the county general had the remaining 7 for $13,200. And then the next page of your report, the last page, you'll notice we've broken that down and showed you where those injuries are between the sheriff's department and solid waste. That has my report. I'd like to remind all county employees that October is open enrollment month. And what open enrollment is where all county employees go in and sign up for your insurance benefits for next year. If you don't go in and sign up for your insurance benefits after January 1st, you may not have the benefits that you're looking for, meaning health insurance, dental insurance, vision insurance, and things like that. And it changes from year to year. So it's important that all county employees go in and review their benefits and sign up for that. Open enrollment this year is October the 19th through November the 2nd. And in fact, the packets are going out to all the county employees as we speak over the next week and a half. They're using the address that the county employee has with payroll as of September the 25th. So if you don't receive a packet, it'll be because your address is not accurate with the payroll department. And then of course they also come back in W-2s and things like that. So we always like to tell everybody, please make sure you have your address up to date with the payroll department. And then as like I say, there'll be additional information in emails. I'd like to remind all county employees, please look at the emails. If you have people that work for you that do not have access to email, as a supervisor, we encourage all the supervisors to make sure that their people know what's going on with open enrollment. So that's all I have at this time.
Further questions? Yeah, I'm not gonna let you off that easy. I got a couple. One, you want to mention October 16th?
October 16th.
Isn't that the
Oh,
health
that's
fair?
the wellness fair. Yes, I'm sorry. I did forget that one, didn't I? The county has the wellness fair going on that Friday from 3 to 6 or 7. I don't remember what time it ends, but it does start at 7. And with that, they have flu shots available and some other things going on. There's been flyers going out. So just to remind employees that I did remember that I got questioned on this, that this year some of the requirements for your health insurance is a health assessment that you do online, and also there's a blood draw where you go through and get that. Those things will not be available at the wellness fair because it takes online. It's you have to go online and do an assessment through the computers and things like that. That facility's not available, and the blood draws would be so much you wouldn't be able to do that. But there will be flu shots there, and so just remind employees that if they need help with that, as far as the online assessment and those types of, call our office. We have people that do come by the office, and we sit down with them and do the online assessment with them. In fact, I did a couple of individuals last week, and I know that somebody did one just today, came into our office and did it. So those are things that need to be done before, again, like I say, open enrollment is complete.
In the past, sometime, I believe, and this is I'm trying to remember, that county commissioners were allowed to go to the wellness fair. Is that true?
No, do what now? They will.
County commissioners have been allowed in the past to go to the wellness fair.
Oh, I don't know. As far as I know, yes, I would think so. It's open to all county employees, and I believe the commissioners would definitely be welcome there.
Will you double check that, and if it is, have them send the commissioners an email on it. Because, well, for one thing, it's an easy way to get a flu shot. I mean, they can cycle you through there, I can tell you.
Okay.
And I think that might be, worth it. Plus all the vendors that are there, if you're interested in that. Okay, now here's the last one. Workers' comp.
Yes, sir.
How many left?
8.
8.
8.
Do any of the others look like they may be open again?
Again, what happens is some of them will close and then reopen. We did have one recently that it hadn't reopened because it had been remaining open, But of that one, it had to have a new surgery because of what happened. And in fact, the individual who had that surgery, he's still on restricted duty, back to work, but it's still a workers' comp. Now, of course, we got out from underneath workers' comp December 31st, 2007. And so all of those workers' comp claims, those 8 are at least that old or older. So.
But that's better than like the 13 we had a year ago.
Yeah, that's correct, sir. And of course, unfortunately, when they're open, they get through court orders and things lifetime medicals. So those things will stick with them to the extent of their life. So.
Any further questions for Mr. Good? If not, we'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Motion, we have a second.
Second.
Second. Any further questions? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you for the information.
Y'all have a good evening.
You too. Thank you. Mr. Gregory, pause. Which one are we going first? I got 3 on here, and 2 of them's.
You should
The
have
report first?
Sure. The report for the month of August was 613 animals enter into the shelter. We had an adoption reclaim percentage of 45.8 and an euthanasia percentage of 48.9. When you factor in animals that could be released back out to the wild or transferred or those type things, we had a live release rate of 49.2%. Out of the 22 animals that were reclaimed by their original owner, 22 of the animals were from our surgery programs. And we'll talk about our surgery program here in just a moment. At the end of the month, we had 92 animals that remained in the shelter. We had 2,333 people visit the shelter looking for a lost or new pet, and 2,564 logged calls and voicemails for the month. Our animal control officers received 1,693 calls. We closed out 1,742 calls. You can see the breakdown of jurisdictions of those. And we traveled 10,630 miles. Fiscal year to date, we've had 1,346 animals that have entered into the shelter, a 43.5% adoption reclaim rate, and a 51.2% euthanasia rate. And we've had almost 5,000 people that have visited the shelter, and almost 5,000 logged calls and voicemails. 3,318 calls were received, and 3,335 calls were completed, and traveling 22,471 miles. On our bite report, of course, you'll remember our activity report goes by fiscal year. Our rabies exposure and bite report goes by calendar year. For the month of August, we had 42 bites that were reported. 3 of those animals were tested. None of those came back positive. For our other exposure, we had 12 reported for the month. 3 of those were tested. 1 of those came back as positive. That puts us at 9 for the year of unsatisfactory or positive results. The one that we had in August was a skunk. Again, it was the same that we always typically see. Skunk got into the pen with the dog, and the dog killed the skunk, thus the testing. On those situations, and this one for sure, it was a 45-day home observation by the owner.
Okay. Any questions for Mr. Gregory on his report? If not, we'll entertain a motion.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion is second. Further questions? Okay. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. All right, now, a grant.
Well, I wanted to give you some stats on our public surgeries before we went into the
Okay.
grant. We started that, if you recall back during the budget process, there was 1,000 surgeries for the general public that were allocated in our budget. We started doing those on September the 1st. Since that time, we've performed 93 surgeries, and we're doing all females, if you recall, to have the biggest impact on our intake numbers. Out of those 93 surgeries that we've performed thus far, 42 of those animals were in heat at the time of surgery. So if you start thinking about the numbers of litters that were prevented by those surgeries, just within one month alone, 42 potential litters. So we were excited about those 93. We're excited to get the 1,000 done. If you do get calls from your constituents, We're calling back folks as quickly as we can. However, we are booked up until December at this point. We asked some demographic information on our applications for folks that wanted to give that. Of course, it's all confidential. But the biggest reason for folks not having the surgery done in the past, number one was listed was cost, and that was whether someone had an income of, $300 or $400 a month, all the way up to a couple $100,000 a year. They still said the cost was the biggest reason. Now, leading into the grant that you were talking about, every year we receive money. It's called the Animal Friendly Grant through the state of Tennessee. For the folks that purchased the Animal Friendly license plate, a portion of that goes back. This year we were awarded $4,000 that will be able to allow us to do 125 surgeries. That program is open to only folks that qualify as low income. So just asking for your approval to send that on so the mayor can sign that.
Okay, and it's no cost to us.
No, sir.
Okay. So, the motion makes you, please put in there for all signatures. Probably just the mayor from our standpoint. But you heard his request. We have a motion.
Make a motion to approve the contract pending all the appropriate signatures.
Second.
Thank you. Thank you both. Any questions about the contract? How many? We've had this several years, so haven't we?
Even before my time.
Okay. All right. This is money, right? Do you want to call a roll?
We can, but it does go to the budget committee. Commissioner Gurley,
Yes.
Commissioner Nipper,
Yes.
Commissioner Piercy,
Yes.
Commissioner Reed,
Yes.
Commissioner Sereno,
Yes.
Commissioner Turner.
Yes.
Commissioner Schaefer.
Yes. Thank you much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Let's be Mr. White, M.S.
Good evening.
How are you, sir?
Good. All right, on the first page of the report, just our basic numbers. We're obviously up from where we were last year, and we'll continue to go up. You kind of heard the fire department on the status of the county is getting bigger, and we're making more calls. So basically, that's it. Our percent collection is 58% now. You'll notice that the write-offs are kind of up. The reason we see that is because we changed collection agencies, and we have to write off those before they can be picked up by the other collection agency. So we have a potential to get some of that money back. This new collection agency is doing a much better job. So everything else on the report is basically benign.
Just explain the yellow and the ambulances that are in yellow and white.
Okay. Down at the bottom, in yellow, it's the spare ambulances. These are units that we have available for call. We have to stock them in the same way. We have to check them off every 72 hours, the whole 9 yards. But these are our spare ambulances that are waiting for a call. And then the ones in the white are just our online ambulances. Until we use those most, and that's why you have most of the maintenance maintenance costs are on those live ambulances. Okay. Next is just our in-services and some of the teams, some of our special teams, trainings and some of the things that they're doing. The REACT team is basically our PR team that goes out, and then we also put our community relations events like ball games and things like that in here too. And the bottom one is our special operations unit, the special rescue, and that's the things that they were doing for the month of August. Okay.
And you cover all high school football games that are played in county?
And we're I've talked to several people about the junior high games too,
Okay.
middle school games.
What about the kids that play on Saturdays? Like I know there's 8, 9, 10-year-olds play at Riverdale. One got hurt, broke a leg last Saturday, and I believe they had to call an ambulance in. Is there any way that y'all can service those kids? Or?
What happens is that's done by off-duty personnel, and they're paid overtime, and we actually charge the school district or the whoever for that.
Okay.
And so happy to cover it, but the problem is that they got to pay for
Pay
it.
for it.
Exactly.
Okay.
So, same thing with the the middle schools and high schools.
Right.
So, and MTSU, we cover all MTSU events, and so they pay that extra fee.
Friday night was 7 games in the county. You were
I
stretched.
believe that's right. We were pretty stretched that night. We were indeed. You know, you're talking about 14 off-duty personnel coming in for those 4 hours, 5 hours.
That's what I was gonna ask you. I say all these different events, and I know Friday turned out to be raining. Do you ever catch yourself short of vehicles?
No, we don't usually catch ourselves short of vehicles. You see that we have several spares, and that's
But
why you see
personnel,
mileages.
or
Right.
personnel?
Now, personnel, we're stretched thin a lot of times, but we haven't not covered a game yet. And a lot of our administrative personnel will come in if that happens, and those types of things. So,
There's around the country in the last 3 weeks, there have been 3 high school players killed, 1 each week.
Yeah.
They died from injuries suffered.
Well, I mean, I can tell you, being a football official, I worked a game in Jackson County that didn't have any EMTs, and a player got hurt, spinal injury, and it took ambulance about 45 minutes to get there, and he laid there on the field. So, I mean, it's well worth having them there.
yeah, and we're very fortunate. We have, these 13, sometimes 14 ambulances covering our county, and we try to keep those response times down. We would like to see our response times at 6 minutes. They're at 8, which is actually down 0.2 from the last report, but they're at 8 minutes right now. We would actually like to even get there quicker. And you'll see when we go to the last page of the report that how much we go out of zones even to get to calls. This is just our basic response time per ambulance station. And these are your commissioner district breakdowns. These are for the month of August, and then the next page is year to date, since July.
But one thing on our calls too, is we have more people in this
Exactly.
county. That means more roads are full and there's more subdivisions.
Well, the full roads deal with our response times also.
Mhm.
The last page, before we get to the thank yous and things like that, basically is a breakdown of all of our numbers, and you can tell, if you just run across there, like for instance, Zone 1 is our Salem zone, and Zone, the top, and they made 173 calls in their zone for that month, and 38 calls in Zone 2, which is over here in the Burton Street side, Zone 3. They make calls all over because we're short of ambulances right there. I worked one 4th of July not too long ago, and I had 5 calls, and all 5 of them were in the Christiana zone, actually. And I worked Salem Road. So, and then the rest of the pages are thank you notes and things like that.
The ambulances that you have in service, they have to pass a state inspection once a year?
Every year. Actually, the person that does our mechanical inspection works for the county landfill, and he's a certified ASE mechanic, and you must have a certified ASE mechanic to do it, and so he actually comes in and does all the inspections.
So it's not done by the state?
State, it's done on a state form, and they come in and check things inside the ambulances because obviously they're not mechanics. And so they come in and check the equipment in the ambulances once a year.
Thank you.
Read some of the thank you cards. I like the one that was somebody there to Mike Nunley. But I understand you're pretty high up on the food chain. Rutherford County. When you're ready, we'll entertain a motion for the report.
Make a motion to approve the report.
A motion?
Second.
And we have a second. All in favor? Any further questions? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Randy.
Thank you.
Okay. The sheriff.
Y'all doing all right tonight?
Uh-huh.
Welcome
Thank you.
to the group. Oh.
So we're gonna take the budget amendment first. Since it's at the first of on the
Okay,
list.
okay. The First Amendment is to recognize revenue from the GHSO teen grant into overtime and related benefits, in-service training, and other supplies. The second one is to recognize revenue from the GHSO alcohol grant into overtime and related benefits. The third one is to recognize revenue from insurance recovery on wrecked vehicle and sale of equipment into new vehicles.
Just to enlighten everybody here on the two grades. Okay. Just what they're about and why the overtime and I think that's what part of it is what it's for, right? You're getting reimbursed.
Right. It'll be, it's a reimbursable grant.
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
Governor's Highway Safety Office, we do all the checkpoints and different
Mhm.
things with them.
And the teen grant.
Yes, teen driving grant as well.
Okay.
And you should see, if you drive in front of the sheriff's office, the new teen driving trailer about texting and all that. It's a big old trailer. We've had it out there for everybody to drive past and see.
And the alcohol, is that the one that DUI stops?
Mhm.
Okay.
Sheriff, do you partner with any of the schools with that texting
Yes,
program?
that's part of
and a
the.
lot- So
yeah.
it's all tied together,
Yes.
because I know it's been a huge problem nationwide. I don't know why it wouldn't be here with kids and even adults,
It's a huge problem.
myself on occasion included in that, but to admit and be fair to the teens, it's not
Yeah.
just them.
Yes.
Good, that's good. I wanted to make sure that was combined.
You heard the requests on the budget amendments. I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion for their approval.
I'll second that.
A motion and a second. Call a roll, please, Becky.
Commissioner Gurley?
Yes.
Commissioner Nipper?
Yes.
Commissioner Piercy?
Yes.
Commissioner Reed?
Yes.
Commissioner Sharino?
Yes.
Commissioner Turner?
Yes.
Commissioner Schaefer?
Yes.
One also quick note, the $6,000 in the third line item was, if you remember a few months ago, I brought to your attention, and we made a deal with Hardeman County, and that was 3 patrol cars. That's what that money is, that we sold them complete patrol cars. I did find out one of them made it to the other side of Nashville and it did go out on them. I did tell the sheriff it did have an out of sight, out of mind warranty on it. So, but he did get it back to Hardeman County. So I just want to let you know on that.
If they work for them, they got a good deal on it,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Okay. All right. First one, sheriff's report. Budget for the patrol and all, is there anything significant on that?
Not that I see right now.
Yeah, okay. A few months or so, hopefully not. Anything with the-
Where are all your postal charges? I noticed you,
That's where we just do one big PO.
Is there's several POs already encumbered for the postage machine, the supplies and all that, FedEx,
Okay.
different things.
I noticed we're showing only 1.79
Right.
left.
That's what it
Yeah.
is. And the postage in the machine itself is quite significant, so.
What's the item number for the food in the jail?
422, 54210, 422.
It's on the second page.
54210, 422.
Yep. And as you're going to see here in just a minute, I've got today's count. Again,
Today's count was 1,038 inmates.
Lower than the one I got in the emails
Yes.
today.
It's too short.
So, well, this was right before I left. 36 males sleeping on the floor, 61 females sleeping on the floor.
Sheriff, do we have any sections closed down?
No,
So all sections?
everything's back up and running. You know, I guess since last month we finished our 3-year project that we've been working on painting and renovating the jail.
Right.
We're now complete with that. It's almost time to start over with some of the painting touch up, but with us fixing the showers and painting everything, we're complete on that. So we're completely back up and running. We did finish the roof, the spray-on roof. They finished the spray-on part. They still have some stuff to go. Hopefully by the next month, maintenance is going to be here to talk to y'all about that and how that was all a grant, but then we did run into some other things. So we'll talk about that next month.
So sleeping on the floor is not a result of any closure, that's all?
Not anymore.
Not anymore?
That's why you notice our male population sleeping on the floor went down, because we almost had
Right.
close to 100, or let's say close to 75 sleeping on the floor, but once we opened up, we were able to put those 50 beds back into use.
Okay.
Are they not actually sleeping on a cot?
Some of the females are sleeping on a cot, but the males are sleeping on the floor. Their mattress is on the floor. And a lot of them, you know, unfortunately, the way that those cells are designed, their heads are down or their feet are right there underneath the toilet.
You said your head count was what now?
1,035.
What was it at the time this budget was passed?
I don't know right off the top of my head, but the budget was based on 950 inmates, 958 food budget wise. So as you can see, we know we're going to end up, just like every year, come back and ask for more food money. And we actually budgeted a little more this year than we did last year for food itself. But numbers are
Based
growing.
on 950?
958. I believe that's exactly what we.
Well, it was $1 million
Yeah.
and $1.20 a meal. And I think that's about 937 or something. It's close to 950, very, very close. And I think when we talked last time,
When you put it up to
we said we're gonna run out sometime
all
in
the
May.
time, it's,
Yeah.
we realize.
But it could even be early, late May. Now we might be mid-May, maybe even early.
1,035.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's been running upper 900s into over 1,000 for 2 months now.
Yeah.
Something
Since the 1st of August, right after we passed the budget, then it's
Yeah,
like we
that's
explode.
right, yeah, about 2 months.
Yeah.
Okay.
At the end, you still had to stretch the cornbread.
Yes.
Right. Well,
And we're required by law to give them so many calories. We can't short them. You know, a lot of people sit there and say, give them bread and water. If we would, or if we could, we would. But by law, we can't. So
Is that
we're
state
not.
or federal?
Federal.
Federal.
how many, what do I want to say? Religious meals or particular diet, certain diet meals do you have to prepare a day? Do you know?
I'd have to get you
I
there.
don't know the exact
Jump up
number.
here.
Okay.
Well, this is important because this is going to cost more than $1.20, isn't it?
Yeah, well, that's why they've done,
You had
and we're
about
getting
200
another
on
list
there
of
the
stuff
other day, didn't
to
you?
bring y'all, another breakdown.
Yeah.
So we'll definitely have those breakdowns for you next
Okay,
month.
that'd be great. But I know
Sergeant Lloyd told me today, as a matter of fact, we had a conversation when I was signing some receipts. It seemed like there's about 60 or 80 diabetic meals we're serving every day. Religious meals during Ramadan, it picks up. It's gone back down. But there's a few. We don't have a whole lot of those. We don't serve pork. All of everything we have, whether it's ham, anything, is all turkey. So no pork, so we don't have to, that satisfies a lot of religious things right there. 913 inmates equals $1.2 million.
913.
913 at $1.20 a meal. I had my notes from last time in this little book here.
But we have what, 1.5? Wasn't that what was budgeted?
1.2.
1.2.
Yes. And last time I came, I said we would be 32 days short.
That was
time.
last month.
That was right when I came last month. So probably at least that much, if not shorter by now.
I thought you said 915, that's why I kept looking.
Right, 913, yeah.
You had 204 on special diets as of yesterday.
Okay.
Out of this 400,000 that you've already spent, how many days ahead will that be?
What do you mean, like the food we got in the refrigerator right now?
Just-
A week at the tops, at tops.
Yeah.
Because that's always had me question what happens if something serious was to happen in this country. How long could we hold inmates before I have problems feeding inmates? And you know, there's other questions there.
So you buy food every week?
We buy,
Yes.
yes. We
Yes,
get
we do.
truckloads in almost daily with different types of food.
I think that's an issue from an emergency management standpoint
Yeah.
with the whole population.
Yes.
Right.
Very few people
Right.
have food stocks to take care of themselves more than a few days. That's
Yeah.
just a fact. I mean, we're so dependent on running down to the nearest place and grabbing it that the whole,
Yeah.
everybody would be in trouble, not just
Not a whole lot
people
of
in
people.
jail, but
Yeah.
Refrigeration's
us.
another problem, and that you can't keep so long, and if something should happen, that you lose power and all, generators can only do so much.
We did that last year too, where we lost power.
Okay. So,
In those special diets, some of those are, because I think the question was religious.
Yeah.
Those special diets, a lot of those are medical, medical diets prescribed by the medical staff as well.
I just pity those poor guys and gals that have to eat those turkey hot dogs. That's nothing but rubber. I used to make them, Oscar Mayer. No, we didn't make many turkey. Our beef were okay. They're not going to get that. Okay. Any further questions for the sheriff, Major Thompson?
You know, I was looking at your figures here, and one thing caught my eye was the fact that you got 438 that are out there on misdemeanors. The largest number, of course, is on felons, 602, but I think that's something that, as we were discussing last month, about the population that you have on
Yes.
The pre-sentence is what's so bad.
Pre-trial's what's killing us.
Yeah.
You know,
It's
the ones
over
that won't
half
bond
of them.
out. And that's why, the mayor and myself, the deputy, the mayor, Tommy, and several others are trying to figure out some solutions, because if this county commission body were to say tomorrow to start construction on something, we're already behind the 8 ball.
Yeah.
And so that's why we are trying, he's leading the pack in trying to figure out what we do going into the future for this county, because we're gonna have to do something. And there's lots of ideas being thrown out.
Well, we're going to hear about one in a minute.
Well, that'll work.
Yeah, I hope it comes to fruition. So any further questions for the sheriff? If not, we'll entertain a motion on the report.
I'll move to approve.
Second. A motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Good. Anything else?
Yes, I've got several other things. Thank you. These are crime maps. Those that don't get them, because we don't have anything that
Means we live in good neighborhoods, right?
No, it means you live in the city. It means you live in the city. But not all the time. Even though you live in the city doesn't mean anything, because a lot of times we'll answer calls in the city. But I want to get, these will be, Lisa Nolan, or not, Lisa Marchoni will be putting them up on Facebook here. And I meant to have these at the county commission the other day, but for y'all two, y'all live in the city, so we didn't have anything. Yeah, so this is what's going on in your districts. The other thing was, some of y'all have it, the jail roster. I wanted to. And I think I've sent you a couple to your email.
Yeah, I'm
since.
getting them.
Okay,
Thank you
good.
for sending them. I just didn't get a chance to print them.
I
try to send them out every so often.
Yeah, no, that's good.
They get kind of redundant after a while.
Yeah.
The numbers are all up there.
And I apologize, but it's just to inform you that, you know, that way,
Yeah.
no one can say you're not being informed.
Right.
Yeah.
But I wanted to go through these numbers real quick as of this afternoon. 1,038. Male population is 78.13%. Female 21.87%. Our male population is 67.53%. Our black population is 31.41%, and other is 1.6%. And then, of course, you got, with this particular breakdown, you can just see the different ages and what the population is on it that I brought with you today.
So you don't have too many people my age in jail?
No, really don't. 9. Somewhere, you know, 1 person over the age of 71. So, do y'all have any questions on the jail stuff?
To me, the big thing is down there in the bottom left on that sheet, he just gave us sentenced and not sentenced.
Yes.
You know, what is 60%?
60% are not sentenced, 40% are sentenced. And the state took roughly 25, was it? 28?
Wasn't a whole lot.
Over the last month. I contacted the state and begged them. They said they were going to try to take more, but they didn't. They took what they took, and
They got some problems themselves, don't they?
well, yes, the state's got some issues themselves, and hopefully they're going to be bringing on a CCA prison by the end of the year, first of the new year. Trousdale County's going to come online, and hopefully the state's going to send them a bunch of inmates, and they may take some more out of ours. I did find out that we are in probably the top 15 jails in the state that they've taken the most out of. You have some other jails, you know, just whatever counties. If a small county, their jail only holds 200, and maybe they have 50 inmates that are state inmates, so their percentages are higher, so the state tries to get those out before they come see us. I do have a conference call. Tommy set up a conference call with CCA tomorrow, so hopefully going to at least get some ideas there for Rutherford County with CCA. So just to let you know that, you know, we are looking at different alternatives. Next thing I've got is this new one. These are donations. These are items that have been donated to the sheriff's office. Naturally, with everything going on, we're always trying to dot our I's and cross our T's. These are some donations that had come in, that, especially the first two you see. The late Buddy Harrell donated a 1947 Ferguson tractor, and it's got the approximate value on there and the serial number, and donated this to the sheriff's office, 2011-ish. We put it on our assets. It's on inventory control, but we can't find where we sent it through the committee process for the county commission to approve it. Same thing, Venture Express donated a 94, I believe it's a Chevrolet tractor, like a tractor trailer, because we have our own trailer, 53-foot trailer. Approximate value there and the VIN number. And then Ms. Keys donated an air conditioner for our maintenance building, and then I donated some things that I had at my house that I no longer needed and the sheriff's office could use when we built that building. So I just wanted to bring this to y'all's attention. These things have already been donated or being used at the sheriff's office. This is just cleanup of accepting those through the committee process.
So you need
I need y'all to, I need a motion
to
yes.
accept the donations.
So move.
Yeah.
Second.
Second. I don't think there's any catches to it.
No, we're already using it all and been using it for years.
Okay, just to acknowledge that these items have been donated. Just ask you, all in favor of accepting the donation, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Also, I've got two more things. The sheriff's office, since I've taken office, we've been intubators, I guess you would say, and leaders throughout the state when it comes to different things going on. And the latest thing is, next year there's a new law that passed, and it's internal controls management. And we're the lead sheriff's office in the state of Tennessee that's going to do this internal controls evaluation. And basically it goes from start to finish of the sheriff's office, dotting every I, crossing every T of how everything works at the sheriff's office, from our evidence, from the time it comes in the building, how it's accounted for, narcotics money, budget money, everything. I've got Major Grisham. He is finishing this project up. Hopefully sometime in November I will be here to tell you about it and give you a great detail about it. I can tell you CTAS is going to be using us to model this throughout the rest of the state, and we're working very close with them to dot every I, cross every T of the sheriff's office. I saw this when I went to the sheriff's conference 2 months ago, that this law had passed. I came back, read some more up on it, and decided to get the sheriff's office involved in it. And Doug Brodery has been working with us quite a bit to get this done, and this is a big thing for my office to get done this year. So I just wanted to let you know about that. And as you learn more, because I think the county itself, we're all going to have to follow this law, but we, the sheriff's office, are getting ahead of the game and going ahead and doing it earlier than what we're required to by law. And the last thing I got is Major Grisham.
How's everybody?
Good.
Sheriff asked me to talk about a few statistics that y'all are interested in. Let me have a copy. Thank you. We wanted me to address our calls for service, response times, calls out of zone, so on and so forth, just to give you an idea of where we're at and how we're doing.
It's all patrol.
This is patrol.
Yeah, what do you want? Thanks. Thank you.
And you need one, right?
I gave her one. She's
Oh,
got
you
one.
did? Okay, everybody got a copy? Kind of broke it down to on different pages, like the first one is calls out of zone and calls 2015 and 2014. And what that is how many times I send a zone 3 officer, for example, to cover zone 4 because he's either tied up or it's not covered or something else is going on, whether he be out of county on, he or she is not able to cover their zone, so I have to send somebody else over to cover it. And that's all that means right there. And as you see, it varies. Sometimes it's less, sometimes it's more. It depends on the month, depends on what's going on. It depends on if school's out, depends on the vacation. Then on the back page, emergency committals, which are always a problem, which we always deal with and continue to be a problem. Sometimes there are a lot, sometimes there's less. But it does, and that's where the calls out of zone come in, because somebody's probably transporting these individuals out of the county, more than likely. And at the bottom of the second page, or almost at the bottom of the second page, is calls out of the county. And what that is, the calls out of the county is pickups, where we're picking somebody up on a warrant, where we're picking up somebody for court, where we're picking up somebody for something to bring to our facility.
And those are becoming a whole lot more lately.
Yeah.
Almost 200,000 automobiles in this county.
All right, yeah, that was the other thing.
Pickups and trucks, I mean.
It's right here, automobiles. Okay, I guess it's cars and pickups. Didn't specify. I was kind of surprised at that number. I thought it would be a little higher. I don't know.
It's 2 for every 3 people.
Yeah. Of course, you got, 6,000 something motorcycles.
Yeah.
State vehicles, 210, government service, 2,000, and trailers is 27,924. And registration violations. In 2014, we wrote 253 of those. Okay. 215, as Captain Spence told you, from the 1st until from the January to July, we wrote 159. So in August, we added 15 to that. So we're 174 to date for registration violations.
Captain Spence used his left hand to put that down.
It just takes a finger. Research just takes a finger. He does a great job at it. He did all the work on this.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
All right, you come on, Marcia.
Any questions on any of this kind of stuff?
As you can see also, our average response time,
Oh, I forgot to mention.
11 minutes, 7 seconds. That's average. The national average is 11 minutes, so we're doing pretty good.
We have one of the largest land area counties in the state, don't we?
Yes, Hardeman County is the largest land area in the state, but we have one of the largest.
And that average response time is totality for everything. I mean, from 911 calls to a regular call. Add them all together, and this is what you get. Each individual thing has different response times. Some are higher, some are lower. Obviously, emergency call is going to be slightly faster, I would hope, than a barking dog call. So
Was it
that's a total.
911, the average response time was 14 minutes?
Yeah, but you got to consider on the 911 call, it's all these calls that are not actual 911 calls, but they're logged as such. So that response time is going to be slower. If I have a child obviously playing on the end of the line, the deputy's going to know that, and the response is not going to be fast. It's not going to be emergency, let's put it that way. So all those factors got to be considered in there. And then the biggest factor is the corruption of the software, the computer, where it's
Yes.
at. And then you got the human factor of who types what in, when, at what point. So there's a lot of factors.
Another quick thing I wanted to bring up was this month I have 15 people that are out on FMLA. Last month I had 23 out of my office, so that's always an issue that we have, and usually having to plan for overtime and or other with that. So other than that, you got anything else for us?
Yeah, I've got a question on your registration numbers. Where did you obtain that number from?
The county clerk's office.
What percentage, you're on patrol, you're out there, what percentage would you think is not registered that's in this county?
Well, that's hard to say because you got to consider MTSU. Okay, you got to consider all the workers that are out of county that work here, okay, like Amazon and all those places. So I wouldn't even begin to guess a percentage. If you can see it for yourself, you stop at a traffic light and you see all the different tags around from different counties.
Nissan, we get that a lot.
Nissan, they're coming in from Nashville, they're coming in from Warren County, they're coming in from Cannon County. The money is made up here, but they prefer to live in their counties.
If they have August 15 or older, they're expired.
Right.
No matter where they're from.
Yeah.
And that's what we go by. I mean, when the deputies are out there patrolling, if they see a tag that's expired, that person's going to get pulled over. And they'll be given either a warning citation or a real citation. Depends on how long it's been expired.
I had talked to the clerk back before budget, and between 13 and 14 and 14 and 15, we had gained somewhere around 25,000 more registered vehicles through wheel tax sales. So it's gaining that quick.
Yeah. So, population, as you all know, is growing.
Our family.
But I can only go by the number that she
Two of
gives
us, and we
us.
got 3 vehicles. But you got to have a pickup truck in this county.
Yeah, it's already got it.
It's kind of law, isn't it?
Yeah. Because it's a 96, so
Yeah, it's a truck.
Still got to haul the garbage off.
Get all your garbage off, yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. I do want to do you want to talk, or do you want me to just mention about your DPS?
Sure. Well, I'll just briefly say, we've started this Criminal Justice Coordinating Council. We're looking at ways in which we can affect the jail population. We've come up with over a dozen different, potential courses of action. One that the council really likes is from a company called Track Group. It's a GPS locating device. It's a very robust device. So I just got the information today. I'll be looking at Bernard is already using this. This would be significantly increasing the numbers and using it for a little bit different mission than he's currently using his devices for. We'll develop a straw man, and the council would like to run a pilot program to see if we can see what value this would be in terms of reducing the jail population. So I'll be getting this information together and come to the committee at the next committee meeting and requesting permission to do a pilot. Additionally, I approached Trey King today. We have one of the judges has expressed an interest in presiding over a mental health court, and that's kind of one of the big hurdles of getting a judge to find time on his docket to be able to do that. And so we're going to put an exploratory committee together that Trey's going to head up. We're going to get Dr. Rudd, the Guidance Center, and others to sit on this committee and see what would it look like if we did one of those here in Rutherford County. I think it would have a significant impact on the jail population. And there's other things we can do. Some of the judges are taking a little bit of initiative in their meeting tomorrow to talk about different options. So we're starting to gather some momentum, and I'm cautiously optimistic that we'll be able to come up with some solutions. As the sheriff said, they're going to open up a new jail sometime in the first quarter of the calendar year 2016. When I talked to the Tennessee Department of Corrections person that the sheriff connected me with, there's 46 jails currently in Tennessee that are overcrowded, and we're 45th on the list. Once that jail does open, it will take a lot of pressure off, but at the rate that we're growing and the way that our jail's growing, we got to look at different and alternative methods in terms of our criminal justice system. If the only tool you've got in your toolbox is a hammer, everything looks like a nail. Every problem looks like a nail. So we're going to see what other tools we can put in our toolbox to effectively address some of the issues we have here in Rutherford County. And it's changing some mindsets a little bit, and so that's why some people have been a little bit hesitant to think out of the box a little bit. But I'm optimistic that we're going to come up with some good methods and courses of action that we can apply here.
Thank you. Don't forget your solid waste, though.
I'm working on that.
Okay.
You mentioned a pilot program. Is there an established time frame you'd like to see that pilot program to be able to get a full scope of, not just say the 3 month and saying, boy, it worked great, but is there a plan around that as well?
And also the timing of it, when we're going to do that.
Okay. That's what I was looking for, was the whole real scope of that.
I asked for 150 days, and they came back with 30, so we're going to go back and keep working on this.
Yeah.
But longer obviously is better.
Sure.
It allows us to, because we're going to charge for this.
Right.
And allows us to gain a little bit of revenue and then continue to fund the program.
Right.
So a little more work to do, and we'll be here at the next meeting to kind of lay it out for you.
Okay. Thank you. Any further questions for Deputy Mayor? All right, next item is the wheel tax and the discussion of it. Commissioner Dodd, who's in attendance here, brought it at the August commission meeting, brought it up, and I told him we'd put it on tonight. And so we will open with discussion on the subject, and if anybody has got thoughts up here that anything you want to bring up about it, you're welcome to start with it. I've gotten some data. The mayor has given me some data, that we have looked at and over time. You heard what the sheriff's office has garnered as, what, 253 last calendar year and 174 citations for expired tag citations so far this year. But,
That's just for the county, right?
that's
Unincorporated.
unincorporated area, yeah. I can guarantee you there's a lot more in the cities. That's it. And I've got some data, like pulling teeth from some of these kind of cities because they don't want, I don't know, they think the county's gonna stick them in the back if they give you any information or something like that. I don't know what, but sometimes some were very helpful, but they all did manage to get me some information. I will say one thing, that the county clerk's office got for like the last 7 or 8 years. And every year our wheel tax revenue has gone up, even during the recession part there when I think there were a lot of people that were trying to skip out on us and get them from other places. But we're still, and of course with growth, by all means that should be happening. And but it's going up like roughly 100 to 150,000 a year. It's getting, we're like up at 3.3 to 2.4 million, and just the, what is it, 5250 for the wheel tax in that time. And so, you know, that's what it was for the last 2014. I also, when the mayor got some information that we had on record from was we had a wheel tax officer, and this was in the 2005-2006 time frame, and the records of how many warning letters and total citations and total vehicles that were checked. And the figures we got for an 8-month period in 2005-2006 were 143 warning letters that the wheel tax officer wrote, 45 total citations, and total vehicles checked were 245. And I'll explain that a little further here on with some other information. So if you expanded it out to got the average per month, it would be 18 warning letters per month, 6 total citations, and 31 vehicles checked. And you can divide them by 30 days or whatever you want to and see how that would work out. Or well, really it would be what, 22?
What is a vehicle check?
That's like school buses, activity buses, things like that they get involved in, and vehicles that are.
I thought that was a state responsibility.
Well,
School buses are inspected by state trooper.
Mm-hmm.
They're state inspected.
Right. Also, the wheel tax officer was going along with them, which I explain what he was doing, you know, here in a minute. And there's also vehicles that you get calls on that seem to be abandoned. Like I remember several times I'd seen them and I'd called it that a new subdivision's being built, and they got the stubs for further where they're gonna stub road. You know, they stubbed them out for where it's gonna continue as the subdivision grows, and people had an old clunker or something. They didn't want it in their driveway or on their property. They move it over to there. Maybe they're going to work on it sometime or else, but it's sitting on one of those stub roads, and it's like an abandoned vehicle, and it happens. You see them scattered around the county.
I believe that's handled by patrol officers. I mean, if they see a vehicle, they're going to tag it. Law requires 72 hours notice.
Well, that's what the wheel tax officer did too. Now we're talking 6-7 years ago. Is what was done. Okay. Now back to your. I got a hold. Mr. Snell, Mike Snell at the school board. And school buses, state troopers are the ones that inspect them. And the wheel tax officer, when he is around, he went and he worked with them on data input and some record keeping, and he checked for the county tags on them when they brought them, well, right there with them when they did some. We have activity buses in all the schools, and the county transportation department records when inspections are needed and records when they're complete. And that's again, I believe it's the state that will, the troopers, that will inspect the activity buses. There's not near as many activity buses as there are school buses, those that are floating around, but I think even some of the middle schools do have them. And is the maintenance taken care of and stuff on the activity buses is the schools, they have forms on the buses that whoever drives them is supposed to check them out and check them when they go out, check them when they come in. If they had noticed anything that's wrong or something, they mark it, and then they turn it in. It's often generally the athletic director who gets it at the high schools, and they have places, and if it's a true maintenance thing that needs to go to, different schools, they take them to different places. Places, you know, the auto repair shops that are near them. Like I know Riverdale, though, has the ability to do an awful lot of things themselves and can correct the problems with the activity buses themselves. And okay, so I think that basically, so they're able to do the maintenance on them in-house at a lot of theirs.
Would that be the same as a pre-trip inspection, like a school bus driver has to do every day?
Well, I don't know what all a school bus driver does, but they have an inspection checklist that whoever takes it out is supposed to go around. Because I tell you, if something happens, you know, those are usually coaches that are driving those buses, okay? And this type thing, and I think they got a pretty conscientious.
There still should have had the training to have the F endorsement to drive a school bus, so.
Yeah. You know, I don't know if it's different.
I'm not trying to argue.
No, yeah, I don't know if it's different though, because most of the activity buses are, some of them are quite small on this, but I know they do have.
They still gotta have the
Yeah.
endorsement, don't they,
Okay.
Shane?
Well, they get the inspection once a year.
Yeah.
Just like the school buses do.
I would like to go on record, I'm totally against creating a wheel tax office. It doesn't make sense economically, it doesn't make sense organizationally.
Let me finish here.
Yeah, I'll let you finish.
I spent a lot of phone calls, a lot of talking, okay? And a lot of trying to pull some teeth. Let me just go, okay, the only other thing I got is, the county clerk's office was very helpful. And also we had Vicki at the Murfreesboro Police Department, the city courts in Laverne, their clerks, and Mr. Jeff Peach in Smyrna. But just let's start. In Laverne, between January 1st, 2014 to December 31st, 2014, calendar year, 707 wheel tax citations for expired tags and registration. Smyrna, from July 1st, 2014, this fiscal year, July 1st, 2014 to June 30th, 2015, 1,474 expired tags, citations. Murfreesboro, I'll give you two, from the fiscal year that just ended, July 1st, 14 to June 30th, 15, 3,683 expired tag citations in the city of Murfreesboro. They got 125,000 people now in Murfreesboro. You know, and it's a lot of stoplights, a lot in this. But in the calendar year of 2014, January 1st to December 31st, they were 5,927. And from what I was told by first in Murfreesboro and also the county mayor said he had heard the stories too, is the city judge they have in Murfreesboro, the longer that the tags are expired when they're brought in, the stiffer the fine, up to the maximum. That they don't, a lot of these cities, they don't just up and say, hey, if the person got the citation and went and got their inspection and their tags, then, then they threw away the citation. Well, these city judges don't do that. I guess if there's extenuating circumstances, it's something to do. As you can see, city of Murfreesboro can buy almost 6,000 that one year. That's bringing in a pretty good amount of money. What it is, back to the wheel tax officer that we had.
Just a minute. Did all the city officers contribute into writing those tickets?
Well, I don't know. I don't think it was one. He would, yeah, I don't know. They just said that's what the police department wrote in each of those cities. I mean, that's
I didn't
what
know if they had a wheel tax
No,
person,
no.
or
no.
it was a multiple
No.
attempt.
Yeah. Yeah. Huh? Eagle, no. Well, they probably didn't have a policeman maybe at that time. I don't know. Sometimes they did out there. But, or he might have been out on a fire call, right?
I just took over, so I'm really,
I know.
I can't say much about the police department right now, so,
I know.
but I can refer to the sheriff, and he might know
Yeah.
what that is.
But anyhow, if you took the warning and citations in that year 2005, 2006, and the 8 months that were checked and expanded it, got the average and made it for a year, it'll be 18 warnings a month and 6 citations, so that's 24 a month. Multiply that by 12, that equals 288. Multiply that by $50 for round monies, round dollars, and you come out with $14,400 a year. Okay, which the wheel tax officer would be making somewhere in the neighborhood of $45,000 in this day and age, somewhere around 45 on just salary, and they'd probably be up around 60,000 with the benefits that go with it, the medical, etc., plus the vehicle. So, from the standpoint, what I figured, the cities are making sure people are getting them. They're getting the tax money. I mean, not the tax money. They're getting the revenue from the citations, but they're also the ones that are writing them. And but then the money is coming in for the wheel tax to the county. So from that standpoint, so that's what I've been able to come up with here, and I think it's a pretty good overview of what's been done in the past 10 years. And if you all have any question, if you want to mention anything.
I already have.
You already have, okay.
I already
You got it.
have.
Okay, all right. Well, if you want to, we can do 3 things. Say we looked at it, we can have a motion to say, hey, we think it'd be a good idea to have a wheel tax officer again, reinstate the job, or that we think the way it is now, without a wheel tax officer, is the way it should be.
Now I have a question. Would he fall under the sheriff's jurisdiction or the mayor's?
Well, it wasn't the mayor's, it was always.
Or under-
No, it'd
That's
have
what
to be a certified
It'd have to be a
officer.
certified
Would it be under yours or Lisa Crowell's?
Yeah.
Under
That's
yours.
what, give you the backstory. It's actually after one of these meetings, I met Bart downstairs. Actually, I was sitting on the hood of his patrol car and talked to him and laid out, and this is right after I took office, and laid it out of what my vision was and what me and the mayor had talked about, because we had learned at the time that position, what he was doing was what fell under post as a certified officer, and he was under the clerk's office, and he was not certified. His certification had ran out years ago. And so the mayor and I and the clerk got together, and we ended up trading a car to the clerk's office, giving her a car that we had, that she wanted, that she accepted, and then I ended up transferring a position to the county HR department, and then the clerk's office transferred Bart to our office. Bart came into the sheriff's office and then started teaching all the deputies kind of his job role of doing the wheel tax stuff. We were already kind of doing it, but he really got involved in our training program and really became an asset to the department and teaching the younger guys what he was doing and how he was doing it. The bus inspections that he did then went on to the state because we didn't have anybody at that time to do it. I think he still did it some while he was still with us at the sheriff's office.
The school board wanted him to do it. They wanted him.
Yeah, because he had a lot of knowledge with it and all that. But then whenever he got sick, that's when it went to the state, because we had nobody that was even interested in learning that part of his job. So the state ended up taking that over.
It is a state responsibility. I mean, there's no, under law, we open ourselves up for a lot of liability if we try to accept that responsibility, because it is a state responsibility.
So that's the backstory and back history.
Further questions, or somebody want to make a motion?
Do you have a man to fill this position?
What we did is we all took on the responsibility. Hence, that's why you see the citations that we write for the wheel tax. We traded a position. It's kind of a neutral. The county got a person for the HR department. We got Bart's position, and then we just absorbed it into training, and then Bart gave his knowledge to all the deputies, and we the deputies have all been out on the unincorporated area of the county enforcing it, just
Well,
like
I
we do
mean,
all
do you
the
have a man you can put in this new
No.
position?
No.
Will he
We're
have to-
shorthanded as
Will
it
he
is.
have to go through your people's 21-week
Yes.
training
If you-
program?
If you all decided right now to give me a new position number and say, here, I want you to go create a wheel tax officer, that would be a certified officer. We could probably transfer one, but we'll eventually end up hiring a new person to fill that position number, which would have to be trained all through the whole process.
It's really part of any regular patrol officer. I mean, they're
Yes.
taught this in basic
Yes.
police academy.
It's a duty
To
we're
write
already
tickets for
doing.
traffic violations is part of basic police training. And that's true whether you're a city officer or whether you're a county officer.
Well, it's being done.
Okay.
Well, it's being done, but
Right.
we're still short-handed, and it's not
not a priority.
It's not no, it's not a priority. Our calls are number one priority.
If you see a violation, you write a ticket for it.
Yes, when you see it, you stop it and all that, but it's not a priority at the sheriff's office.
I was behind somebody yesterday after I dropped out at Blackman High School. I was on my way back to the bus barn. 2 years. 2 years.
There are people.
I would have written it down. Had Bart been here, I would have written it down. I wrote them down all the time, faxed them to the motor vehicle office. Nobody cares, so I didn't do anything about it.
Well, if you're in the city, they're gonna catch somebody like that sooner or later, but whatever, but we're not gonna catch them all. We didn't catch anywhere near them when Bart was here, so that's.
I will make a motion that we leave things status quo and not appoint anyone to the wheel tax position.
We have a motion. We have a second.
I'll second it.
Do we have any further discussion? Okay.
Before it's killed, I'd like to see some more figures on it. What it would cost to have the man.
Well, it's gonna cost at least $60,000. And it's gonna add a person.
Is that a car, a gun,
No.
a training?
That's not the
just
training,
benefit-
that's in
benefits and
salary and
salary.
benefits.
Well, if you'll remember at our budget hearing, I asked for 4 new deputies, and each one of those was gonna cost $112,000.
But that was getting,
And that was including
car,
car, pension, health insurance, and this sort of thing. My problem is if I can't get a new deputy out of Digable and Rockvale, I don't know about just having an individual looking for the wheel tax. And it will cost at least that much by the time you put somebody in a car, take care of all the health insurance, all the different things you gotta have. I mean, you're just not talking about a salary. you're talking about everything else that goes
Yeah.
with it.
And
So
to be
it-
effective, you're gonna have to have 10.
Now, let me ask, and I know this could be a stupid question, but the position that we're talking about, all he's gonna be doing is just riding around looking for expired tags. Is that correct?
Well, yeah, I mean, Bart did more than that. I mean, Bart did trash. Bart worked with the courts.
Did the commercial vehicle
Yeah,
enforcement?
he did.
Well, I mean, like, what do you do with the courts? I mean,
He would sometimes fill in as a bailiff.
so he was more than just the guy looking for expired tags. I mean, he was
I mean,
a patrolman.
Yes, he patrolled. He was a jack of all trades.
That
I
was-
mean, he really was. He did he did a little bit of everything for county government. I mean, he's still the mayor's office would ask him to do things. The clerk's office would ask him to do things. He was out trying to patrol, look for tags, look for commercial vehicles, do school bus stuff. So he did a lot of. He wore a lot of different hats for this county.
You're not gonna find the average person who's gonna, for that position, that's gonna have that kind of.
No.
And today, trying to get a person to cover all of these departments, I would say, is going to be problematic because the media is going to say, well, you're over here doing this for the mayor when you should be over here doing this.
Well,
or, you know what I'm saying? I mean,
We have people for court security now. We have, it's a different time.
right.
And
We can't even fully patrol, staff our current zone roster, and our zone roster had changed in, I don't know when.
Right.
We don't have enough deputies on the road. Like we said, Eagleville is still, Zone 7 still goes at times unprotected when we're shorthanded.
Right.
So, you have to go with your priorities, just like the clerk's office, we're trying to send deputies in the afternoon, patrol deputies, as they're going to their zone out to Las Casas, going from the sheriff's office, they'll go and walk through the clerk's office. Just walk through, show your presence, let everybody know you're there.
Right now,
So
we're talking budget things.
Now,
And that's not till next year.
Right.
And even if this position passes, it will not go until budget
Now,
next year.
now let me ask you this. If she saw somebody that had expired tags for 2 years and she called the sheriff's office, could the sheriff's office act upon that?
Yeah.
So really, I think, in my opinion, money, instead of spending $60,000 to $100,000 for a position, we could take that money and put it to media and educate them. Like, if you see somebody, call this number. And because you have 100,000 people out there that would, I think, be willing to turn in their neighbor who hadn't paid their their tags. So
you can call us, you can call the county clerk's office, and
Right.
we'd still send out I don't think we send out the letters that much.
That's what we
because
mean.
we're not getting the information, but I know the clerk's office is still sending out letters.
Right.
I don't want the public to think that if you call us, that that deputy's going to run to that spot that second to find that person, because that
Right.
deputy could be in Eagleville and you call up around Christiana, so it'd take them a while to get over
But if
there.
they give you the right license plate number, you don't have to go to that place that minute. You can
Yeah,
follow
you can
up at
follow
that
up
guy's
when you're out,
house.
yes.
I mean,
when the deputies have
Well, that's been done in the past.
You know,
It's
I-
done now, but I mean, the
Yeah,
cities
so-
are calling now.
basically, I guess I'm saying is, I think the money could be better used by educating the public on how to help law enforcement in taking care of people who don't.
But if y'all
Get their tags.
decide to give me the person, then we'll do it. But if you don't, you don't. So
Further discussion? Call the roll, please, on this one, Becky.
reread the motion.
leave status quo on the matter of a wheel tax officer and not appoint anyone to, for that position. Commissioner Gurley?
Yes.
Commissioner Nipper?
Yes.
Commissioner Piercy?
Yes.
Commissioner Reed?
Yes.
Commissioner Sereno?
Yes.
Commissioner Turner?
Yes.
Commissioner Schaefer?
Yes. Thank you all for your input. We have one more item that you can see it up there on the board with the flying around. It's a 10-15 minute discussion.
Yeah, 10-15 minutes.
And it updates us on our communications in Rutherford County. Did I get that right for you?
I think that's pretty much right. Yeah, you know, this is, within another few weeks, I'll be kind of pretty much away from anything to do with this project other than occasional advice and so on. So I wanted to kind of give public safety and an update on where we came from, where we've gotten to, and where we ought to be going in this project. Back in '09, the mayor formed an ad hoc committee, and we began studying what the needs was and were in Rutherford County. And one was that we needed to create infrastructure. We defined infrastructure as towers, buildings, generators, base stations, microwave, and so on. Anything that we need to make a system. At that time, RCSO was on the Old State Tower at Tiger Hill. They had voters out at Chuck Mills' house at Smyrna PD, Eagleville Water Tank in Lynch Hill. RCFD was at Lynch Hill, and EMS was at WTN with voters at Tiger Hill and Laverne Water Tank, which they are until October 7th. At October the 7th, we cut EMS over. Right now, as it stands right now, RCSO has transmitters at Tiger Hill and Smyrna. They have voting receivers at Lynch Hill, Milton, Hudson, Bradeville, Eagle, and the jail penthouse. The fire department has a base station or repeater at Tiger Hill with voting receivers at Smyrna, Lynch Hill, Milton, Hudson, Eagleville, and one is being added at Bradeville. EMS, when it's cut over on the 7th, will have the repeater at Tiger Hill with receivers at Smyrna, Milton, Lynch Hill, Hudson, and voter receivers being added to Bradeville and the jail penthouse due to them also covering the city area. They will also maintain on fire. We've kept a couple of the old ones, repeaters in place. EMS will be doing the same thing for paging. They'll be keeping the Laverne repeater, and also their WTN repeater will stay in place. Might also note that we've also added channel capacity. In addition to the 2 channels that we had for SO, we've added a couple more channels to SO. We've added a UHF channel to EMS, and we've also added a fire ops channel for fire. So that's kind of, we've not only added improved coverage, but we've also improved capacity. This is kind of a map, give you an idea where things are located. As far as building stuff, we've built a new 230-foot tower at Tiger Hill. My voice is going. 180-foot tower at Milton, and we've refurbished a 300-foot tower at Hudson. Hudson, by the way, is out in Rock Vale. We've co-located with Middle Tennessee Electric at Smyrna and Bradeville, and we've used the existing Lynch Hill site that the county owned, and also the jail penthouse. We've connected Smyrna, Milton, Hudson, Bradeville, and the jail to Tiger Hill with digital microwave. Lynch Hill, we're using the state, which, by the way, we're using the same microwave, the same capability that the state's using statewide. Eagleville right now, the RCSO1 and fire are connected via phone lines that were there previously. We'll get to that in a minute. That's an area that we need some more work. I want to quickly do a picture story. We started out with the fire tower, or the 85-foot fire tower. The picture's not good because the sun was shining bright. But we started taking down a fire tower. It took 2 cranes because forestry wanted to preserve its fire tower for museum use. So we had 1 crane at the top, 1 crane at the back. This fire tower is gently laid down on the ground. Forestry came and got the part they wanted, and eventually convinced enough people to haul the remaining off to get it out of the way. We started building where that was. We started building a tower. That base is 32 by 32. The piers are 24 feet apart. I forget, 9,000 or 10,000 pounds of about 1.25 inch rebar in there. 120 cubic yards of concrete. That's what we have now with all the microwave and so on it, and antennas. It still has excess capacity. We put a building there, and that's before we started hanging antennas. We had to do a lot of clearing. There was an old building and everything. We ran into some bad weather. The state put a generator is in behind that building, a 50 kW diesel generator. That's what it looks like inside. A lot of equipment. It's pretty complicated. So it's not just a little box sitting out here.
Are those server racks almost?
Do what?
Like server racks? Is that what that
yes.
is?
Yes.
Or something to that effect?
Yes. A lot of switches. We have 4 24-port switches on the county system, 2 routers, just at Tiger Hill alone, if you're for IT folks.
Is there air conditioning at all these?
Do what?
Air conditioning to keep.
Air conditioning, yes. Dual air conditioners there. It gets very hot in the building if air conditioning goes out. I can guarantee you that. We did kind of the same thing at Milton. Came in, built a 180-foot tower at the CUD water tank. Put a building there. Of course, power. All the things that go with this. We did a lot of this work ourselves. A lot of the install we did as far as installing the equipment, and then Motorola came in and did the configuration. This is the Hudson Tower. It had 6 12-foot dishes, and you'll see a picture in a minute to get an idea how big those dishes were. We took this tower basically for back taxes and then leasing the underlying land. This is what the tower looks like now with all of that off of it. That's the size of a dish. It's bigger than my truck. 6 of those had to come off of there. This is what it looked like, the old building, generator, and bushes included. This is looking inside the new building, which, by the way, came from another site that THP abandoned in East Tennessee. Cost us about $7,000 to get that building. So I thought we did fairly well on that. So that site minimally is one of our less expensive sites in the long run. Once again, a lot of the same equipment. There's stuff going in on the left racks that we put some in the other day. Switches, routers, microwave, receivers. This was Eagleville, the old receivers. They fell off. Needless to say, they broke. We have a nice little aluminum cabinet over at the base of the water tank now. We replaced the antenna, put a new cabinet. Their new receivers are in. Quickly, funding. And Christie Houston, $315,000. A Homeland Security grant for $150,000. $500,000 AFG grant, Aid to Firefighters grant. It was an 80-20 match, so we actually got $400,000. A little over $1.2 million from 911. County put in $400,000 prior to this year, current FY, and we have $151,000 in the current FY, which we've spent for additional transmitters, for SO channels, additional receivers for fire and EMS. To the tune of around $73,000. Part of that is in the process of being installed right now. We have about $75,000 left right now. So a total of 2.7 something million is what we've spent. We did a lot of this as far as procurement, procuring GSA, state contract, doing a lot of the work ourselves. Motorola wanted $40,000 through the Milton Electrical. We did all the electrical for around $20,000, and that included the highest place we incurred in terms of electrical work was 10 grand at the jail. At the penthouse, we had to put in an isolation transformer, come off the 440, put in a whole new distribution box. There really wasn't any power source for anything in the penthouse. That cost around $10,000. Most of the rest of these we did $2,000 to $3,000 for the other sites. Some of the lessons learned, as you see from the previous page, lots of funding sources. Homeland Security carried stipulations. Originally, it was for a tower. It wasn't near enough for the tower. We wound up buying equipment with that 150. Also, you get into NEPA, GEO, NEPA, National Environmental Protection Act, SHPA, State Historic Preservation Act, all these types of things that I've dealt with umpteen times in my previous career that they take time. And AFG grant was limited to microwave. So when you start doing a project, it should have been done with the bond issue, and then if we could have gotten grants to supplement some of that and defray some of that cost, great. But multiple funding sources made the procurement phase difficult because we had a $500,000 grant that we could only spend on microwave. And so we couldn't bundle it all together in a bid. So building the sites takes quite a bit of time from inception to completion. Like I said, NEPA, GEO stands for geological, SHPA, all these times things take a lot of extra time. I think in going on future-wise, this committee and the mayor need to look at where the management, if you can see from this, we've got right now 8 sites, looking to build another 1 or 2. We're looking to co-locate at Walter Hill area. We'll come up with some future stuff here in just a second, but this is a complicated system. This is as complicated as the IT system is for the county. It is a lot of IT stuff. It really needs a full-time person. You know, during the 4 years I've been here, I was kind of like mentioned about Bart, kind of a jack of all trades. You know, worked 13 years for THP, 7.5 years for TEMA, 12 years for Sprint as senior engineer. You know, done fire, EMS, law enforcement. So we fell right in and were able to do, we did something 120, 130 responses. That included everything from 5 gallons worth of diesel to the interstate shut down for multiple hours and in the middle of the night. And so it needs, really somebody needs to dedicate their full time to this. What's next? We're going to add additional transmit capability to 2 RCSO sites. That equipment's already been procured and delivered, along with EMS receivers in the process and fire receivers to 2 more sites. One of the things we've got to do, and we probably have enough money to do it out of what we have in current budget, but we've got to add emergency power to Hudson and Milton, so that when we have an ice storm, last winter, Lynch Hill ran 36 hours on the generator. So if we got it there, no matter how good it is, if it's not working when we have bad, it's not much good. We need to find a suitable location. The water tank's about 30 feet high. We need to build some kind of tower in the Eagleville area. We also need to find a suitable location, and one I've been looking at is Bill Rice Ranch out 96 near the county line to fill in that rough terrain area. And then if Murfreesboro doesn't build a tower in the Walter Hill area, then we need to look for a place to build a tower out in that area. Future, I would hope that we as a body never let the county get back in from a public safety communications point where we were in 2009. We had 18-year-old equipment, 20-year-old equipment, minimal coverage. Guys, dispatcher saying all I hear is noise. Yeah, we're going to have problems. It's not perfect yet, as I've outlined. There's still some things we're in the process of doing and needs to be done. But we need to make it a priority, and this position needs to be a full-time job, not a part-time job in the EMA. And that's my feelings on it. I share with the commission. Technology is moving forward, will we? I mean, it's just, I've been in technology all my life, some of you have. It doesn't stop. You blink your eyes right now and you're lost. And that's my presentation. I thank you. Thank you. Any questions? I'll be happy to talk to anyone individually and so on, but I just wanted to give the committee a quick update as to where the money that previous individual committee members have saw fit to appropriate and what we've done with it and where we've still got to go and move forward. And I'll be out of it from an active point, but I'll be here. So I hope, you know.
Could you send that presentation to the committee? If you had already sent it, could I get a copy of that?
I can probably, the best thing is to get with OIT and have them put it on a share drive.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, I'll do that. I will get with them and have them put it on the share drive in the next few days, and that way it's available to the public.
Right. Thank you.
Am I correct in saying that basically now we have coverage throughout the county?
I think the majority of the county is covered. We still have some places. We still have a few spots. We're working to identify. Some of those are identified already in this presentation. But then we're also tweaking it. We're still doing some tweaking on some things. We're changing the antenna out. Hopefully, if the rain holds off later this week at Smyrna, that hopefully will improve things on the fire EMS side down there. The SO antenna is already out the top of the tower. We're putting this one out the top of the tower also. Like I said, there's a few, but it's much improved compared to where it was. And the thing is, we need to, and I think everybody needs to think about, it's not a one-time fix it, and it's good for the rest of our lives or whatever. It's a constant thing. I mean, how many IT departments don't change out the computers but every 20 years? You know, it's a constant. Software upgrades. In fact, one of the things we're not doing right now on the SO side, we've already ordered the equipment. We're waiting for a new software load that's coming out in the second quarter of this coming year that we think will be an improvement over what's there now before we put this additional equipment in and load the new software load. So it's a matter of keeping the latest software loads up in it. Motorola comes out with new software loads typically twice a year. So it's a matter of keeping it up and in order so that it performs at its peak all the time. But yes, I will, Brad, I will.
Thank you.
Put this on.
Any other business? I just would like to mention that next month Vice Chairman Reed will be chairing a meeting. I'll be a week after knee replacement, so he's going to get his baptism under fire. So I know you all will help. We're adjourned.